Good evening and welcome to yet another episode of Beating COVID 19. And today we're going to continue talking about um, lockdowns, the anatomy of a lockdown. We covered 5 different types yesterday, where we talked about the extreme lockdown, the total lockdown, the partial lockdown, the easy lockdown, and the no lockdown. Each of them have success stories. Not all of them are bad. None of them is bad. All of them have success stories which in one way or the other prove that they work. So today we're going to talk about Taiwan. Taiwan instituted a no lockdown policy. And according to ING, the finance organization, they actually indicate that, and I'll attach the article in the text, that the countries that did the no lockdown in Asia suffered the least economic downturn. Just for the record, there's much more in the article, covers a lot more things, a lot more areas. In that article will be useful even for other days when we are discussing other people's lockdowns. Okay, let me start by saying that Taiwan acted extremely early. They did not take anything for granted. They were quick on the ball, they were pronto, they were right on the money. And it has proved to them to be very successful because the country has come out of the COVID pandemic much more intact and less with detrimental effects. Taiwan is a model of quick response and also generosity beyond measure. For a small country of that size, they have done a lot for many countries. They've donated millions of masks to Europe. And at one point, even it's been specified, they've made between 10 and 20 million masks per day. Okay, let's go through what they did. From the moment that the unusual affected virus was raised by Dr. Li Wenyang in China, Taiwan instituted in end New Year, that is 31st of December, inspection of all inbound flights. They did not take it for granted. They were instant on the money when it came to that. They also provided travel notices, which included levels, which are like from normal to high. But there's an article for that, which mostly covered the 14-day self-quarantine as a standard for all 3 levels of travel notification, especially like for local and international travel. They instituted a face mask policy. It became very popular that Taiwan became the poster child for face masks. And again, it proved to be effective because as you go along, the nation really took those steps positively and were cooperating with the government. Number 4, the economic impact was much less than their fellow counterparts or countries of similar GDP globally. Taiwan's impact was much lower. I think they had a decline of about 4% of their GDP, and in an area where in the other countries were between 6 and 7 and even higher. The aviation industry, yes, was affected, but they were able to curb that by also offering repatriation flights to other countries for people who wanted to go back home, and also limiting non-essential travel for locals, and also monitoring all incoming flights. They were able to launch their leagues, like the American Baseball League or something like that. They were able to launch their leagues fast to empty stadiums, and the resumption of sports started early. These are steps that they've taken to normalize their no lockdown policy. So a lot of the social distancing and stuff that they had already decided, they had gone through with that. Now they are opening up and getting ready to go back to living life as normal. And I mentioned the evacuation flights and so on. The domestic response, I think it was over 91% was in support of the government actions. And because of the overwhelming civil support, the government was able to enact over 124 discrete actions which were not invasive to the people, contact tracing, all that kind of tracing and testing and isolation and quarantine. They did them without interrupting people's lives. And in so doing, they removed the stigma, and people were able to know that the government had their back. And to make matters more interesting, Taiwan started manufacturing an overcapacity of masks so that they can send out to other countries, so that other countries can be able to get masks, because there was a big shortage of masks. So they went on a mask making enterprise, and they donated most of their masks. Taiwan is an example of a country that is industrious, whose leadership is thinking very far ahead of the curve and looking out for their citizens. The no lockdown policy meant Taiwan's lifestyle and the people living there changed very little. And they have come out of this COVID pandemic as the no lockdown success story. Okay. I want to thank you for spending these few minutes with me. We tried to make them short this time, and I pray that you will learn something from these talks, especially this week, because we are going to cover the reasons why certain countries went certain ways, and even the success stories of those countries. We wish you a good evening. Have a good night. See you tomorrow, and see you on the next one. God bless.